All right, Hope Day. Welcome to Frontline, 6 o'clock here on the East Coast. We begin in Massachusetts, where the former Treasury Secretary and former Harvard President Larry Summers says he's going to resign from teaching and being affiliated with the Ivy League school at the end of the year due to his ties with Jeffrey Epstein. Good riddance, pal. Also, more grifting in Minnesota. Tim Walz's administration admitting that rioters are using the state's paid family medical leave program to take as much as 12 weeks off of work to go protest at the expense of taxpayers for being injured by the federal law enforcement, whether they were or not. And in California, Sacramento County Sheriff Jim Cooper is blasting the state parole board's decision, I am too, to grant early release to a serial child molester sentenced to 3 life terms after being convicted on 16 counts of kidnapping and child molestation. One judge called the criminal David Allen Funston the monster parents fear most. Bury that guy under the jail. But first, that speech, it was fire. Even CNN was forced to admit it. Let's do this. Man. Fire. Look, I don't really take Democrats too seriously on anything anyway, but after last night, Trump brought the House down. He did something just genius right out the gate. Forced Democrats to show where they stand on the safety of you and I.
If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens.
There it is. Make that every Republican's campaign ad for the next 9 months. Democrats don't stand for your safety and security. There's the ad. It's free. Their number one issue is not you, it's not me, it's not taxes, it's not our homes, it's resisting Trump. That's all they got. And they will sacrifice every one of us at the altar of politics to do so, including Irina Zaruska, the woman who was stabbed in the neck by a repeat criminal. Democrats wouldn't even give her the time of day. In fact, most Democrats stayed seated for, and the White House noting, the lowest murder rate in 125 years. Voter ID they stayed seated for. Ending fraud, waste, and abuse they couldn't get up. Couldn't be bothered to stand up for the families that had somebody killed by an illegal immigrant. They couldn't stand up for lower taxes. They sat down for a secure border. 0 people admitted illegally through our southern border. You can stand up for that? And a few other things, but this one got me. They stayed seated while the U.S. hockey team that just got a gold medal were introduced simply because it was Trump's guests. How do you govern with people like that? You can't. Why are we even bothering? We should have blown the filibuster a year ago. This is what I've been saying and why I'm so frustrated with Republicans for even bothering to try to negotiate. Just run them over. That's what they do when they get in charge. Yeah, they don't want to negotiate. They'll never negotiate with you. They sat down for people who were murdered. You either love America or you're a Democrat. There's no common definition of a successful America between the two parties anymore. Trump laid out a successful America.
The state of our union is strong. Our border is secure. Inflation is plummeting. Incomes are rising fast. Our enemies are scared. Our military and police are stacked. America is respected again.
Yeah. And instead of embracing any of that, while the whole Republican Party was standing up chanting, USA, USA, here's Rashida Tlaib, the Muslim, foreign-born, far-left Democrat, chanting KKK. Here you go, America. Here, another campaign ad, by the way. This is the alternative to Trump. A bunch of foreign-born, anti-American haters who want to tax you, trans your kids, give free stuff to illegals while they raid your Social Security payments, and they give it to Somali refugees who ship it back to terrorists in Mogadishu. Trump called out the Somali fraud, actually. Ilhan Omar, Miss Somalia herself, just sat there with scorn.
Somali pirates who ransacked Minnesota remind us that there are large parts of the world where bribery, corruption, and lawlessness are the norm.
Dude, I was dying laughing when I saw this. My wife was doing something on her computer, like sort of paying attention. She looks over at me, she's like, what the hell are you laughing at? And Ilhan Omar being miserable. That's what I'm laughing at. It was hilarious. Honestly, seeing her that angry, that made my week. That's your choice in November, folks. The Somali bundle of joy or lower taxes. All Republicans need to do is give maybe 30% of voters one reason to not stay home. That's the bar. It's literally on the floor. Think about it. I talked about messaging last night. How little does John Thune and Mike Johnson have to do right, or what they have to pass in order to win against that? Shut down the Department of Education, abolish the Fed. Hell, I'd even take an audit of Fort Knox's gold. I'd take defunding every Democrat state until they hand over their voter rolls to make sure, illegals aren't voting. You do that, you wouldn't even have to campaign in the midterms because this is your opposition.
I'm a mother. I'm a physician, and I have a flag. And I am the proud representative for Oregon's 3rd Congressional District. Yes, thank you, thank you. And tonight...
It's the alternative. A bunch of, pot-smoking hippies that are taxing people out of their own states on a stage with blow-up frogs. A guy with a giraffe suit in front of a banner that says, State of the Swamp. You people are the swamp. And considering you guys were just all bent out of shape over a video depicting Democrats and some Republicans as savanna animals, weird flex having your whole party dress up as them, while simultaneously this clown, Al Green. Remember him? He was the guy who wanted to impeach Trump over dastardly deeds. He's still protesting Trump over a stupid cartoon. Did you guys actually think... I sometimes wonder if the Democrats, they had their headphones in or they didn't even watch the whole thing. It was supposed to be counter-programming to State of the Union is what the Democrats were doing. The State of the Union. Yet they would counter-program that, but a few weeks ago, we were told that counter-programming the Super Bowl was somehow racist. This goes both ways. I have gone to my son's elementary schools, by the way, and watched their plays, better choreographed than the Democrats' little frog festival, which I find myself offensive as a frog man myself. And the irony that Democrats who sat and refused to applaud while Trump mentioned tax cuts for middle-class families and all this other stuff, that same party chose Abigail Spanberger as their voice for the rebuttal? The new Virginia governor who ran as a moderate, who's pushing forward with 84 new tax hikes in her state?
Is the president working to make life more affordable for you and your family? Is the president working to keep Americans safe both at home and abroad? Is the president working for you?
Does she want me to answer that? I mean, the answer is yes. He is. We did the numbers last night. Did you not watch the speech before giving that rebuttal, lady? Your entire party sat silent when he talked about the safety of American citizens. His inflation is 1/3 what it was 4 years ago. My man works 19 hours a day in the Oval Office, and the lights are on in the West Wing at 4 a.m. And he's out there on Truth Social, trash-talking people, negotiating a peace deal over here. The last guy, your Democrat president, called a lid at 2 p.m. every single day. Gave us press conferences quarterly, maybe every 3 months. But you know what I think this was about? I think this was about elevating her. The parties that be in Washington, D.C., the Beltway insiders, they're fighting this young socialist movement that, quite frankly, is the majority of the Democrat Party right now. The white shoe consultants, though, for the Democrat Party are doing anything they can to take away momentum from AOC, Kamala Harris, and all the other nut jobs they have making waves. The Democrats are going to try to run this woman, Abigail Spanberger, for president next year. Watch. Guarantee you. Because they think they can capture a bunch of weak Republicans, which, look, honestly, not the worst plan, okay? Look, I live in Connecticut where most Republicans aren't even actually Republicans. And they're always like, well, how could you support Trump and blah, 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 blah. Those types actually may support this Virginia Governor Spanberger. Look, I look at these people in places like my state of Connecticut, the Republicans that the Democrats are targeting now, most of whom, or whose husbands at least, own businesses, all of which will be enjoying the fruits of the new 100% capital write-offs and other tax credits in the big, beautiful bill this year. And they will stand there in the next election cycle and probably vote for Abigail Spanberger after she passed 84 new taxes, which even PBS called her out.
I think it's interesting that they chose Spanberger because she campaigned as a moderate and she's doing quite the opposite. So I think she will have a hard time really delivering on what she shared tonight because she seems to be a Trojan horse for the far left policies that are selling to the Democrats.
And look at the other people on that panel. They just sat there. They knew it. I mean, this is bottom line. Dope speech by Trump last night. Total mic drop. According to CNN even, who was just wailing about how low Trump's approval was yesterday, then they polled Trump and had a positive reaction to this speech. 63 to 36. That's a plus 28-point rating. Do work, my man. Tudor Dixon, host of the Tudor Dixon podcast, someone who's also been in the political arena for a while, running for governor against one of the other worst people, Gretchen Whitmer. Tudor, what'd you think?
I thought the president gave a phenomenal speech. I thought that the CNN poll was probably low because I think people walked away from that and went, I am proud to be an American. And I was ashamed of the Democrats. And he said, you're shameful. I'm ashamed of what you're doing right now. And he should have been because they wouldn't stand for the American people. I mean, the reality is that time and time again, there was an opportunity to stand for the American people. It wasn't standing for Trump. It was standing for us. And they chose not to. And then, Abigail, I have to fight back on you about Spanberger because you just said they're trying to get away from the socialist side of their party. She is a socialist. She just put in a wealth tax. Yeah. She is AOC just in a different package, like the White Witch package, but she is still AOC. She put in a wealth tax, and AOC just got humiliated on the world stage talking about that. She's not talking about it. She's doing it. She is dangerous because people are manipulated, thinking that she is a moderate when she is not.
Yeah, no, that's actually a completely fair point, Tudor. I'll concede that. But the Democrats, you know, they chose her, though, to deliver this thing because, I don't know, maybe she appeals to the moderate more. Do you think she's going to be able to run away from her? I mean, she just passed like a gym tax, a dog tax, a grooming tax, a counseling tax, dry cleaning tax. You think that she's going to be able to run? Because I think she's going to run for president. Do you think she's going to be able to run without that attached to her? I mean, she did win attached to the guy who wanted to kill his opponent's kids.
I think the Democrats will struggle with anybody they run for president because they are so used to being able to do this in blue states and purple states where the media does not hold them accountable. And this is what happened to Kamala Harris. She got on the world stage, and then you actually have to talk to more people than just the left-wing media. When you do and you can't, then you end up like Kamala Harris. And that'll happen to all Dems in 28.
Yeah, no, I think so. And I also don't think enough people are talking about President Trump tackling something very important. He pointed this out last night about the housing crisis. Roll this.
I signed executive order to ban large Wall Street investment firms from buying up in the thousands single-family homes.
So this is something that a lot of people have been sleeping on, which is the fact that huge investment firms are buying huge sections of sometimes small towns and completely manipulating the housing market to the point where longtime and lifetime residents of certain communities are priced out.
Absolutely. And you also have governors like the governor of Michigan who is saying, we're going to invest billions of dollars into housing so there's not a housing crisis. You never really want the government to take over housing. No. And that's exactly what President Trump is saying. We're going to put this back into the hands of the people. This is your country. This should be your property. And you should not allow the government to continue to do this to you and create these inflated prices, like you said, that shouldn't really be inflated. It is a scam. It's happening in blue states. We are so blessed to have President Trump where he is so that he can protect us.
Yeah. One of my favorite points, look, I really hate Nancy Pelosi, but he took aim at her last night. Roll this.
Let's also ensure that members of Congress cannot corruptly profit from using insider information. They stood up for that. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Did Nancy Pelosi stand up if she was here?
Even Elizabeth Warren stood up for that one.
Oh, I know, and you could see she is frazzled. So she went on several shows afterward, and every show asked her about that. And she at one point said to Jake Tapper, "I'm not going to talk. That's not why I'm here. I'm not going to talk about it." And he said, "I can't let you get away with this. You have to talk about it."
Yeah.
It is a defining, to me, this is a defining moment in a bigger way than most people will see, because it shows that Nancy, who used to have a lot of control over her party, has lost control. Chuck Schumer has lost control. There is a new Democrat Party, and it is fractured, and they don't have an identity. They can't figure out where they want to go.
No. So they're going to run all kinds of weird people. The Democrat primary is literally going to be a drinking game for like half the country, I think, Tudor. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
All right, coming up, we'll have more on the State of the Union and what college kids thought of it. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, what about the State of the Union last night? 1 to 10.
It was like a 1 or 2. I mean, it was all over the place.
Daily Wire's Brecca Stoll, who did that video, is going to tell us what she found. It's hilarious. But first, just hours after the Senate leaders were briefed on Iran, President Trump lays down the law when it comes to the rising tension. How close are we to conflict? Well, closer than you think. Even Democrats agree now. Next.
Whoa, 90% off? I have to purchase now. My phone!
That was a scam link.
Try this one. We installed PCmatic.
PCmatic blocked ransomware before threats can strike.
It's 100% made in America security.
Trusted by homes, businesses, governments, and now you. Stop guessing.
Start blocking.
Get PCmatic.
Don't kibble your dog.
Hey, Dr. Marty.
Hey, back.
What's wrong with this?
Let's check it out. It's still kibble, which means they're ultra-processed. At Dr. Marty, we freeze-dried premium meats, fruits, and vegetables, and they're gonna love it.
At Ancestry, we believe every question about the past is a spark. And when curiosity strikes about the everyday lives of your family, we're here with answers only your ancestors can provide. How is your family woven into 250 years of U.S. history? Find out now at Ancestry.
Last year, I made a resolution to finally capture my life stories. Storyworth gave me the means to do it with just one question every week. And now, my grandkids will always know where they came from. Start capturing your stories at Storyworth.com.
We are in negotiations with them. They want to make a deal, but we haven't heard those secret words. We will never have a nuclear weapon. My preference is to solve this problem through diplomacy. But one thing is certain, I will never allow the world's #1 sponsor of terror, which they are by far, to have a nuclear weapon. Can't let that happen.
Can't let it happen. But they're also not a week away, like they tell us every week. It's like, this is the right's version of climate change, is Iran getting a nuclear weapon. President Trump sending a very clear message. Tread lightly, guys. All right? Iran, we're not going to put up with your stuff anymore. Trump's comments coming only a few hours after Secretary of State Marco Rubio and the CIA Director John Ratcliffe actually briefed the Gang of Eight on rising tensions in the region. But this left Chuck Schumer, even Chuck Schumer, who hates Trump, looking a little flabbergasted and appears to side with Trump.
This is serious, and the administration has to make its case to the American people.
Looks like he just saw a ghost or ate one of his ungrilled hamburgers that he put on there with cheese before it was cooked. Undersecretary for Defense Robert Wilkie, former Undersecretary of Defense Robert Wilkie. Sir, the fact that Chuck Schumer came out and was like, oh, actually, yeah, Trump's kind of doing the right thing.
Yeah. Hey, before we get there, I want to say something about your previous segment about Spanberger, because this is something that touches your heart as well. One of her first acts was to declare she wants to get rid of the Virginia Military Institute.
Yep.
The university that gave the world General of the Army George C. Marshall and General George S. Patton. That's how radical Spanberger is, and her voting record in the Congress was to the left of your girlfriend, Nancy Pelosi. So let's just make that clear. To the more important point, though, yes, Schumer has always wanted to do something about Iran. That's his constituency in New York City. That's what's kept him going. He has traditionally, with few exceptions, been a supporter of Israel, and he's talked about the threat Iran constitutes to the state of Israel. And what they told him was, look, they are trying to rapidly rebuild their ballistic missile capability. They're ready to unleash their proxies, particularly, and you know these things better than anybody, against soft targets around the world, Jewish community centers, what have you. And that the time is now. They've never been weaker. The time is now to finally get rid of this evil regime.
Yeah. I mean, I just hope that if they do it, they actually do it and not like piddle around and, bomb.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it can't be a half-ass effort. All right, this is some breaking news here, though. Secretary of State Marco Rubio just said, this just came across the wire probably while you were waiting on hold for this segment, that Iran is headed to the path of developing weapons that could reach the U.S. Now, we always talk about a nuclear weapon. We don't spend a lot of time talking about the ICBMs, the intercontinental ballistic missiles that would carry that warhead. This is a bigger problem.
It is a much bigger problem. And for Netanyahu, when he came to the White House, this was his number one priority. He doesn't think, as you've said correctly, that they're within days or weeks of a nuclear weapon. What they are within a reasonably short time of doing is developing an ICBM capability. We think we know where these things are. We do know the Chinese have been offloading components at what's left of Iran's ports. So they're rapidly trying to do that. But that has been the number one priority for the Israelis, not the nuclear program. So that's a smokescreen. But the ballistic missile program is certainly one that we should all be wary of.
Yeah, I mean, you could load a 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 pound warhead in there with conventional explosives and take out huge city blocks anywhere, and they're going 15,000 miles an hour upon re-entry to the atmosphere. So hard to stop. All right, here's one. Hungary, Slovakia, both NATO countries. They've maintained relations with Russia for, quite some time during this war in Ukraine. But now both nations are blaming Ukraine for an outage on a pipeline that supplies their nations with Russian oil, saying that Ukraine is shutting down the pipeline for political reasons. Now, there's video of this thing on fire and both sides are pointing things. But look, the Nord Stream pipeline, I have my theories on who actually blew that up on the sabotage. Ukraine is saying that it was damaged by Russia. Other people saying it might have been Ukraine that sabotaged this.
Right. Well, look, Hungary and Slovakia, that's a whole nother show as to what they're doing with their dance with Putin. The president has told the Hungarians, he's told Mr. Orban, you can get the oil from us a lot cheaper and cleaner than you can from Putin. This is a losing proposition. And Orban is actually in electoral trouble in Hungary precisely because of that. The Hungarians have a lot of experience with the hammer and sickle. So there's no love lost there between the Hungarian nation and the Russians. So we'll see what happens. But to me, it's just lunacy. You should stick to the United States. That's where your future is. Putin is a dead ender. It's not going to benefit your country in the end.
Yeah, well, former Undersecretary Robert Wilkie, we appreciate it very much, sir.
Always good to see you.
Likewise. And folks, we're also following a story about an American flag vessel, a Florida registered vessel in the Gulf that was shot by the Cuban Coast Guard. And the details are a little fuzzy right now, and I don't really like the Cuban side of the story. Coming up, though, college students caught lying through their teeth as they're asked about Trump's State of the Union address the day before it happened. These people are just programmed to hate America before they even hear it. Next.
I'm John Glasgow, and whether the story is right here in New York City in a courthouse or at the border wall in Arizona, we're going to be boots on the ground to bring you all the facts to make sure that you get the story straight, because that's what's important to us right here at Newsmax.
Pop up the volume. Go ahead. Crank the volume. We got you. USPS has increased daily package processing capacity by 46% in the past 5 years. And with USPS Ground Advantage, your packages stay in our secure network, dock to door, nationwide. For full visibility, near real-time tracking, affordable pricing, for peace of mind. USPS Ground Advantage.
This little light of mine, in the dark found a hopeful sign.
For those with depression not getting enough relief from their antidepressant, adding Caplyta can help you let in the light, providing greater relief from depression symptoms than an antidepressant alone. And unlike some medications, Caplyta is also proven to deliver significant symptom relief from both bipolar 1 and 2 depression.
Elderly dementia patients have increased risk of death or stroke. Caplyta is not approved for dementia-related psychosis. Call your doctor about new or sudden mood changes, behaviors, or suicidal thoughts right away. Antidepressants may increase these risks. Report fever, confusion, stiff muscles, which may be life-threatening, or uncontrolled muscle movements, which may be permanent. High cholesterol and weight gain may occur, as can high blood sugar, which may be fatal. Common side effects are sleepiness, dizziness, nausea, dry mouth, feeling tired, and diarrhea. These aren't all the side effects.
Ask your doctor about Caplyta.
Help see more of the light inside of me.
This isn't your average pill. This is Rose Sparks. Rose Sparks. Rose Sparks. Rose Sparks.
Rose Sparks is a fast-acting solution because it dissolves under your tongue.
Rose Sparks.
Guys, get started today.
Connect with a provider to find out if Rose Sparks are right for you.
Your Florida life is calling, and we have the answer. Valencia in Florida by GL Homes. Premium 55-plus living in 5 prime Florida locations. Gorgeous new homes from the mid-300s to $2.5 million. World-class resort-style living 24/7. Huge clubhouses, on-site dining, pickleball, and more. Effortless, low-maintenance living. Valencia, your Florida life is calling. Experience more at valenciaflorida.com.
AI company Palantir makes critical decisions for governments around the world. In 2019, Palantir bought $50 million in gold in case of black swan events. Not surprising what followed. In 2020, a pandemic shut down the global economy. And in 2022, Russia invaded Ukraine. In 2023, we had a regional banking collapse. And in 2026, could a 1929-style market crash be the final straw? Give Patriot Gold Group a call at 888-528-4290 before it's too late. Patriot Gold Group is Consumer Affairs' top-rated gold and silver dealer 9 years in a row. Home of the No Fee for Life IRA. Patriot Gold Group is patriots protecting patriots. Call now, 888-528-4290.
This is why I love being on the right side of the aisle. We know how to catch the libs in their lies. The following video was filmed Monday, the 23rd. That's the day before Trump's State of the Union, which was on Tuesday, the 24th. This is going around asking college students at George Washington University what they thought of the event that hadn't happened yet. Watch this.
College kids are telling us Trump's State of the Union didn't go so well. The only problem? It's tomorrow. Rate Trump's State of the Union speech 1 out of 10. 1's the worst, 10's the best. Negatives. And why? I think we all know a lot of reasons. Yeah. What about the State of the Union last night? 1 to 10.
It was like a 1 or 2. I mean, it was all over the place.
Probably just giving a 0.
Gonna give it a 1. And why do you say 1?
I don't think he's very articulate.
How did Trump do at the State of the Union?
0.
I know it was last night. I thought it was tomorrow. No, you're good. You passed the test. Good job.
Wow. I'm so glad their parents are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on their education. They're willing to lie about it. They didn't. Like Brecca Stoll, the reporter who took that video for the Daily Wire, and Nate Morris, Kentucky Senate candidate. Brecca, this made my day. How stupid these people are.
Carl, it was wild. We get to campus and, first couple students, they're saying, hey, we didn't watch it. I don't want to be in the video. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. They don't know when the State of the Union is. But then we started getting some people biting and they start telling us, yeah, it was terrible. They weren't articulate. And I think my favorite one was the girl who said, I watched it for a little bit and then I turned it off. What were you watching?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. But Nate, when we look at stuff like this is the opposing party. Like, people like you who are running for Senate are seeking to get votes from this generation who are so politically illiterate, who their vote counts as much as ours, that they will literally not even know when the State of the Union is and then lie about it.
It's very sad, but I will tell you, they missed the greatest speech in the history of State of the Unions last night. And I think that's what is so telling. And that was an incredible speech that America's back and we're focused on the American worker. We're focused on the right issues. And this generation in particular, they need to pay attention because we've been invaded in our country by all these illegals. And it became clear last night that the Democratic Party is more concerned about illegal immigrants than they are about American people.
Oh, no, 100%. I mean, they made that very clear by not standing up. Brecca, the Democrats, though, they did look very weak, very, rudderless last night. Competing all these events everywhere. And now they're kind of leaving this opening for Kamala to step in again because she's not ruling it out. Rule this.
Will you run again?
I haven't decided.
You're still thinking about it?
I might.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what I've been saying. That's what I closed the book and I'm like, oh, she wants to. She's just thinking about it.
She's not thinking about anything, Brecca, ever.
No, and it's kind of interesting in that answer. You don't even get much out of it. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. Very vague. We don't get any context. And it's honestly, it kind of reminds me just the lack of enthusiasm in her answer that we saw there last night at the Democrat counter-protesting at the State of the Union. I was out there on the lawn live reporting, and it was mainly reporters there. They couldn't draw out a crowd, and it was just a slew of honestly kind of what looked like their kind of star-studded roster. They had Joy Reid, she's, ex-MSNBC. They had Ed Markey, he, just proposed the transgender Bill of Rights, but they couldn't bring anybody out. And I wonder if the same thing's with Kamala.
Yeah, and Nate, you've probably seen this in your race so far, where no matter what you do, if it's low taxes, but you're a Republican, it's racist. If it's, you're trying to help somebody and stop crime, it's racist. So you probably heard this out of Hunter College in New York, where this is an associate professor, was caught on a hot mic saying stuff that they accuse Republicans of thinking. Roll this.
It helps us fit those skills into our lessons.
Schools that they're just too dumb to know they're in a bad school. I mean, but apparently Martin Luther King said it. If you train a Black person well enough, they'll know to use the back. You don't have to tell them anymore. They just
Allison Friedman, what you're saying is absolutely hearable here. You've got to stop.
She's still employed, Nate Dogg.
It's so pathetic and sad. And liberals are the true racists. We know this. We see their expectations that they put on certain people. And this is a playbook they've been running since the very beginning. And look, I think the Trump Republican Party, this is a party open to everybody. This is a party that's for the American worker, that's for the American family. And I'm hopeful that we're going to continue to have more gains with all communities, just like President Trump did in the last election. But, Carl, think about this. Could you imagine if Kamala Harris were given that speech? I mean, they'd probably start the speech last night with a drag show if she were running it.
No, that's true. That's true. Nate, I want to leave you with this, though. Since you may be in the Senate, there was a Senate hearing, and Senator Markwayne Mullin absolutely lit up Bernie Sanders for the entire country's health care problems. Watch this real quick.
Anyways, I ranted too long. Let's talk about some...
Yes, you did.
I'm sorry, I didn't ask your opinion on that. And if I cared about your opinion, I would ask you, but I don't care about your opinion.
Well,
you're part of the system. You're part of the problem. You've been sitting here longer than I've even been alive. This is your problem. You should have fixed this a long time ago. You've been railing on it so long. What have you been doing?
I've decided not to run for Surgeon General. You're the nominee. I've decided not to accept that nominee.
That is definitely something we would never accept.
Nate, if you were in that room, I'd love to see your response.
Well, look, the frustration is rightfully deserved. I mean, look, we've all seen the healthcare system. You know, the American people were lied to. They were taken advantage of. Their costs have gone up. Of course, there's going to be frustration. Of course, we should have this outrage. And I'm so glad and proud that the president addressed this last night. We got to get it fixed.
Yeah. No, we do.
And it's hurting all Americans, and especially the folks that I'm going to be representing in Kentucky.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we see you there. Brecca, great video. Nate, we appreciate it as always.
Thank you so much.
All right, coming up,
Thank you.
conspiracy theorists proven right again. And it proves my point of why I never trust the government. Next, Culture Clash.
Hi, I'm Katrina Zish. I've worked on the red carpet, I've worked at Vogue magazine, and now I work at Newsmax, and I couldn't be happier because it's all about bringing the most important stories in the world directly to you.
Have you ever thought of getting a walk-in tub for you or someone you love? Now is a great time to take a look at getting a Safe Step walk-in tub.
With Safe Step's standard heated seat and new fast fill faucet, you can enjoy a nice warm bath up to 20% faster. And the convenient touchpad control is right at your fingertips.
Each tub comes standard with a dual hydrotherapy system. The 10 water jets can help increase mobility, relieve pain, boost energy, and improve sleep, while the MicroSoothe advanced air therapy system oxygenates and softens skin.
Safe Step walk-in tubs are built to maximize safety so you can stay in your home and enjoy the comforts of bathing again.
So call now for more information and a free no-obligation consultation.
When you call today, you'll also receive our limited time offer. Don't wait to enjoy safer bathing. Call 1-800-296-0431.
Hello, everyone. It's President Donald J. Trump, and it's Trump time. Check out this red beauty. It's one of my new watches. Wear it proudly on your wrist, and everyone will know exactly what it's for, who it represents. It's really going to be something special. It's for your favorite president. Get your watch today at gettrumpwatches.com. Please make a great gift. It's Trump time.
Joining us is Dr. Drew from the Wellness Company with advice for dealing with seasonal colds and flu. Doctor?
Cold and flu season is here, and every year you or a loved one gets sick. Your doctor can't see you. Waiting in a crowded urgent care is brutal. This is a particularly bad cold and flu season, and it's why doctors suggest every family needs an emergency medical kit. Your medical emergency kit is filled with essential prescriptions. It includes antibiotics like generic Z-Pak to get well faster, amoxicillin for pneumonia, strep throat, ear infections, plus prescriptions for nausea and UTIs, and even ivermectin. It's easy. Just match your symptoms to the prescription in your guidebook or call the telemedicine doctor standing by. Take your medication early and feel better faster. Having a medical emergency kit is like having an urgent care in your home. No waiting to see a doctor, no lines at the pharmacy.
Smart advice. We've shared the website and discount code below to save viewers $45. Order now and your kit will be rushed to your door. Thank you, doctor.
Set sail toward fast asthma relief with Breathora.
$300 for a refill?
Don't pay that. Use Single Care. Look up your prescription, show the coupon to the pharmacist, and save.
See why more people are saving with Single Care.
You know, WeatherTech isn't just for new cars. No matter how old or new your car is, it deserves WeatherTech. With laser-measured protection for practically every car on the road, we've got you covered. Because messes don't care what year your car is. Whatever you're driving, we got it. We got it. We got it. Got it. We got it. We got it. We've got it. Oh, we got it. No matter what year your vehicle is, it deserves WeatherTech. Order your American-made protection today at WT.com. We're WeatherTech. You know we got it.
All right, we got some breaking news. Vice President Vance says that Medicaid would be temporarily halted. More than $250 million, actually, he's looking to halt in funding to Minnesota to ensure that funds are properly being used. This coming after President Trump tapped Vance last night to lead the charge against the fraud. But this is why I don't trust the government. Well, this is like another reason why. A newly released CIA document, it was a precursor to MK Ultra, Project Artichoke, shows a blueprint to drug an entire population and manipulate their minds. No, this is not a conspiracy theory, folks. This is in newly declassified government paperwork. It says, quote, this study should include chemicals or drugs that can effectively be concealed in common items such as food, water, Coca-Cola, beer, liquor, cigarettes, etc. This type of drug should also be capable of use in standard medical treatments such as vaccinations, shots, to make people have depression and anxiety. Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna says their next task force hearing should be on MK Ultra, where they also drugged people, brought them in with hookers, and gave them LSD against their will. But that's just another thing the government does. Doesn't stop, though, there. A new Czech study looked at 81 sets of headphones. They found that all of them had this bisphenol A. It's a chemical that can affect immunity and fertility. Some suggest that these headphones are making the kids gay. You see why I don't trust the government. Host of the podcast, Scrolling with Hayley Caronia, and independent journalist Evita Duffy-Alfonso. Hayley, I've heard Alex Jones say it, that the water's making the frogs gay, but now headphones?
Hey, this is the truth. Behind every conspiracy theory, there is truth. Conspiracy theorists are batting 1,000 these days every time. You know what they say now? It's just 6 months in between a conspiracy theory and when we find out the truth. But this is the unfortunate truth. And I don't mean to sound like a doomsday prepper or be negative, but this is the truth, right? We are being poisoned all around us. Our environment, it's not just the poison in the food that we eat, but chemicals in our perfumes, our hair products, makeup, our clothes, our bedding, our detergent, our cleaning supplies. It's everywhere. And people need to start waking up before it's too late.
Yeah. Now I have an RO unit where I drink my water out of with a remineralization thing because I don't trust the tap water anywhere. But speaking of government and vaccines and all this weird stuff, one of the weirdest guys, Bill Gates, hot water for his involvement, Evita, with Jeffrey Epstein. Now the billionaires, he's apologizing to staff over at the Gates Foundation over his ties to Epstein, and also revealed that he had 2 affairs with Russian women, which still he wants us to eat his lab-grown beef. Yeah, right.
Well, he's still trying to defend himself. So the Epstein files are pretty damning for Bill Gates. And he's saying, but I didn't do anything illegal. I mean, it wasn't good. It was unsavory, but I'm still a good guy. And I don't know why anybody would ever trust him at this point. I mean, I don't even know why he was in charge of our entire health response to COVID. I mean, he's a total creep. He's a weirdo. He wants us to eat lab-grown meat. You're correct about that. Fake meat. And I mean, this is a guy who also sterilized women in the third world. I mean, everything that he does is bizarre and dystopian. And I'm sick of billionaires, creepy billionaires, being in charge of health policy, of economic policy, of everything that is every minute detail of our lives being controlled by these individuals who are very bizarre. And
100%. I just don't take medical advice from people who also talk about the earth is overpopulated. I don't think those two coincide very well. Hayley, another Democrat caught up in lies. California Governor Gavin Newsom claimed that he couldn't read. You remember this, specifically talking about a speech trying to relate to black voters. Yet last year, the internet's forever, he said this.
I went through it in a quick hour and a half, almost 2 hours. And trust me, I don't read very fast, but it reads at an unbelievable pace.
So he was, while he's talking to white people, he said he read one book that has, by the way, the audiobook's 11 hours long, and he was able to read that in under 2 hours. I mean, this guy is so full of it.
Yeah, the Democrats, they're really good at pandering, right? Depending on who they're talking to, they shapeshift pretty well, and they pander to the black community, the Hispanic community, the white community, whoever. And of course, in front of these white authors, Gavin Newsom is some superhuman reader. And in front of black people, apparently he's just as stupid as they are. So that's incredibly racist and disgusting, but that doesn't shock me for Gavin Newsom. But he's a liar. He has one mode, and it is lying.
Yeah, no, that's what he claims. He claims he is whoever he's in front of based on his perception of it, which you correctly pointed out. Evita, lastly, Don Lemon actually FAFOing right now. A woman who was in that church is suing him for storming it and said, unlawfully interfered with this, her right to exercise religion, private place of worship. She could win.
Well, I mean, I think it's wonderful that she's doing that. And I'll just add, There is a lot of trauma in Minneapolis. The media wanted to move on from the Catholic school shooting from a trans-identifying shooter very quickly because they didn't like the individual who did it. But Christians in Minneapolis are still traumatized by what happened. 30 people were injured, 2 children were killed. Shame on Don Lemon for going into a church, storming in there and terrorizing everyone.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, had it have been my church, I don't go to church that frequently, but had it been there, man, it would have been a different story written up in the paper. Haley, Evita, we appreciate it very much.
Thank
All
you.
right, coming up, more on President Trump owning the night in his epic world record-breaking State of the Union speech. Democrats turn their parties into like a total clown show. Next.
Whoa, 90% off? I have to purchase now. My phone!
That was a scam link.
Try this one. We installed PCmatic.
PCmatic blocked ransomware before threats can strike.
It's 100% made in America security.
Trusted by homes, businesses, governments, and now you. Stop guessing.
Start blocking.
Get PCmatic.
Here at LeafGuard, we believe our customers say it best.
I would rate LeafGuard a 10. Every chance I get, I try to tell people about LeafGuard gutters because I'm very happy with them.
And they were leaking water into our house. Now with these, I haven't had any water issues.
Open-top gutters don't work well in winter conditions. Even with a screen or mesh cover, they still don't compare to LeafGuard. You know, for the most part, we can install LeafGuard in less than 1 day, even during winter. Or call now to get on our early spring installation schedule. Take advantage of our $99 install sale. Receive $99 installation on a complete LeafGuard system. Ask about no interest and no payments for 18 months. Let me keep your gutters clean forever. Call LeafGuard now and get dinner for 2, a $100 gift card with your free in-home estimate.
My overall experience would have to be a 10.
LeafGuard system so far has been fantastic.
It's a no maintenance, no hassle type of system.
And they take in lots of water.
Take a look at LeafGuard's exclusive Big Mouth. The larger opening and oversized downspouts move water away from your home fast. And LeafGuard has been lab tested to handle up to 32 inches of rainfall an hour. Don't deal with those old gutters any longer. Call LeafGuard now during the $99 install sale. Receive $99 installation for a limited time on a complete LeafGuard system. Ask about no interest and no payments for 18 months. If you call LeafGuard now, we have a nice gift for you. Dinner for 2, that's a $100 value with your free in-home estimate. Call 800-541-1274. Now let me give you that number again. 1-800-541-1274. And LeafGuard is proud to be a Great Day Improvements brand. With our Great Day loyalty discount, receive 10% off any of our other products with your LeafGuard purchase.
I am a Gold Star spouse to CIA officer Casey Clark, and he came home. By Monday, he had struck a very high fever. They put him on a ventilator. Definitely the hardest moment to have to tell a child that their father is passing away. Tunnel to Towers coming into our lives has transformed us. To have your home paid for, I really am so grateful to Tunnel to Towers.
Well, folks, I got some more breaking news to bring you. The FBI subpoenaed the phone records of both Kash Patel and Susie Walz when they were private citizens. The subpoenas were issued as Jack Smith was investigating each of them over the Trump 2020 election. Now, Patel calling the revelations obviously outrageous and deeply alarming because they are. I want to bring it back, though, to Trump's historic speech last night. The president spoke for nearly 2 hours, making it the longest address on record since tracking back to 1964. And as we mentioned, Trump pulled the brilliant move of showing Americans who the Democrats really are. He asked everyone to stand if their duty is to protect American citizens, not illegals. And of course, Democrats completely stay seated. But we knew it was only a matter of time until someone pulled the race card. Roll it.
I think you can agree with the what, like standing up for American citizens, but I disagree with the how. And so it's always about how do we bring our country together, but not stand on the backs of others. There's thinly veiled racist language, anti-immigrant language in what he was asking, and that was uncomfortable.
Okay, whatever. Florida Congressman Greg Steube, who was there, sir. I mean, these people are morons.
I started laughing. I didn't see that clip. That's crazy.
But like, these are the people that, you know, a lot of folks in America are like, hey, I want you to govern in Congress or in the Senate or whatever. How do you govern with these people?
Well, it's impossible. I mean, thank the Lord we have a Republican majority in the House and a Republican majority in the Senate. But, I mean, I thought it was great that he did that. I wish he would have done it more. Like, everybody stand up that thinks that we should only have citizens vote in our elections and then see, you know, all the Democrats remain seated. I thought it was great that he did that because for me as a visual guy, you saw the picture of Republicans standing for American citizens and Democrats standing against our citizens and for illegal immigrants. So the visual of that, I think, will speak very well into the midterm elections as we all start campaigning to govern the House in November. And I think it just shows the American people their base. The Democrat base is illegal immigrants and not the American people.
Right. Well, at least they want them to be. It's shocking to me. Here's something across the street from you guys. Senate Majority Leader John Thune says they're now in discussions, and that's underway, to enforce the talking filibuster for the Save America Act. Listen to this.
The talking filibuster issue is one on which there is not certainly a unified Republican conference, and there would have to be. If you go down that path, you're talking about the need to table what are going to be numerous amendments and an ability to keep 50 Republicans unified pretty much on every single vote. And there isn't support for doing that at this point.
I mean, here's the thing. It's like, this is a no-brainer, but also I hear it's Mitch McConnell's people. It's not even Mitch McConnell. He's too old. His people are holding it up to get out of committee.
Yeah, nuke the filibuster, pass the SAVE Act. We have to do it to save America. And there's 53 Republicans over in the Senate, not 50, so I don't even know where he's getting that. So even if we lose 3, J.D. Vance can come in and break the tie. You have to do this for the safety and the security of the American people. It's like an 80% issue. You heard the president last night. Americans, even Democrats, believe that only citizens should vote in our elections. It's kind of common sense. Even in third world countries, they do that. I think I saw something where Somalia requires citizens to vote in their elections, but we don't. So let's just go ahead and do that and not have rogue states that allow non-citizens to vote. You have to nuke the filibuster. I read something that he's just going to have a vote. Well, if they just have a vote, there's a 60 vote requirement for the filibuster, so it's going to fail. So he's going to try to pander to conservatives by saying, well, I had a vote for the SAVE Act, but he knows it's not going to pass because he's not nuking the filibuster to get it passed. I have called on him to get rid of the filibuster since October. Obviously, I don't have any influence on the Senate, but the American people elected a Republican House, a Republican Senate, and Donald Trump in the White House. And if we can't pass a simple thing like ensuring that only citizens vote in our elections, then shame on us. And I can guarantee you we're going to be hurting in the midterms because the people who voted us into office aren't going to vote us in there again.
Right, exactly. I got to get your take, 30 seconds on this. Harry Sissons, you remember this guy, he posted this ridiculous, I'm not sure if he knows how owning works, but he says MAGA absolutely hates this. And I was like, not really. I mean, I don't mind. Republicans have largely come around to gay marriage.
Well, I mean, I don't support that. And in the great state of Florida, we have an actual constitutional amendment that is a man and a woman. So I think there's actually Supreme Court opportunities for us to be able to take that out. But I'm not that Republican that supports that publicly, but I think that the party as itself has moved from that.
Just Harry Sissons and Gavin Newsom together. It was just like the memes became so funny. Anyway, Congressman Greg Steube, love having you, sir. Appreciate it very much.
Yeah, good to see you.
All right, before we go, the man who says he's a woman calling someone else a liar. Got it. Check. Next.
The press won't report the real story.
The American people are actually very smart.
Ridiculous statements.
These guys are just plain weird.
Actual scandals.
Even the immunity decision. I mean, that decision was so misreported.
That's my job, and I aim to do it every night.
Total Beats, America's best-selling Beats brand, is available at Walmart. Total Beats blood pressure support soft chews contain a key ingredient clinically shown to deliver 2 times better blood pressure support. Take control of your health. Head to Walmart and get Total Beats blood pressure support soft chews today.
Hello, everyone. It's President Donald J. Trump, and it's Trump time. Check out this red beauty. It's one of my new watches. Wear it proudly on your wrist, and everyone will know exactly what it's for, who it represents. It's really going to be something special. It's for your favorite president. Get your watch today at gettrumpwatches.com. These make a great gift. It's Trump time.
Alan was so proud to be an 82nd Airborne Combat Medic. I never expected that he would come home and need assistance for daily activities for the rest of his life.
There were times where I did not think that Alan was going to make it. 21 years now. And I'm grateful for everyone.
For some of our nation's bravest, time can't heal their injuries. They need our support, and they need Wounded Warrior Project. With a gift of just $19 a month, you will provide life-changing support and services to wounded veterans like Alan.
If it wasn't for Wounded Warrior Project, I'd be in a very different place, or not even here. I'd be dead and gone.
It is a crippling injury. Alan is struggling, struggling to hold a fork. There's truly an impact in donating to Wounded Warrior Project. We're going to need it for the rest of Alan's life.
Please, call or go online with your gift of $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket as a thank you.
It takes tremendous courage to raise your right hand and swear an oath to protect this country.
My pride in that boy is boundless.
21 years since I was wounded. People need to know freedom isn't free. The money you give goes to people like me. Thank you very much.
Love you.
Love you.
Please donate right now.
Don't kibble your dog.
Hey, Dr. Marty.
Hey, back.
What's wrong with this?
Let's check it out. It's still kibble, which means they're ultra-processed. At Dr. Marty, we freeze-dry premium meats, fruits, and vegetables, and they're gonna love it.
Pump up the volume. Go ahead. Crank the volume. We got you. USPS has increased daily package processing capacity by 46% in the past 5 years. And with USPS Ground Advantage, your packages stay in our secure network, dock to door, nationwide. For full visibility, near real-time tracking, affordable pricing, for peace of mind. USPS Ground Advantage.
Nothing like accusing someone of lying while lying about what's between your legs. Roll this.
Percent of the speech was this president lying about his record and his policies.
Was that an Adam's apple there? A lot of Dems saying that Trump was lying, short of specifics, though. Trying to use nuance and ambiguous terms to try to catch Trump in a lie, most notably when he said this.
When I visited the great state of Iowa just a few weeks ago, I even saw $1.85 a gallon for gasoline.
He didn't say all gas was $1.85. He said he saw one place that was. And the fact check was literally like, no, not all gas is $1.85. Rob, these people have nothing. All they do is just say that Trump is bad.
They got pounded last night pretty good. It was a good speech. When you have CNN analysts saying that this was a pretty effective speech, it was a rough night for the Democrats, and they had the loser party about a mile away down the road, which was
with frogs.
Maybe the funniest part of the whole night.
Yeah,
Carl, good to see you.
Word.